Hey guys, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. And today's video is going to be a first video in a series that I'm going to be doing on people that seemingly vanish during hiking trips with multiple people or camping trips with multiple people. But before I get started, I just wanted to remind anyone that might not have seen my last few videos that the first few merch things that I've been working on, the calendars have come in. So if anyone's interested in buying one, just go to the description and there'll be links to different ways you can buy one. And if there is a Kelly watching this video, Kelly, you paid me by PayPal, but you didn't send me your address. So maybe you can email me, because for some reason, guys, it's not letting me send messages on PayPal. So if you've given me a donation, or if you have paid and given me your address for a calendar, they have shipped out, and normally I would send a thank you, but for some reason PayPal isn't letting me send any messages. So in any event, I do appreciate everyone who's been buying the calendars and supporting my channel. As always, I appreciate it very much. So today's case is extremely bizarre. We're going to be talking about 53-year-old Mary Sloan. She was 53 years old at the time, and she went missing on Mount Graham, which is in Arizona. It's sort of in the southeastern part of Arizona. I'll have maps as usual. And she went missing on September 3rd of 2015. Now, she was with a group of 8 hikers when this happened, and they had gone out on this camping trip, and they had apparently camped off of a Forest Service road. It wasn't an established campground, which this is the first part I found kind of bizarre, because if you look at the map, in this whole area, there's established campgrounds everywhere. So I was a little confused as to why they hadn't decided to pick one of these established campgrounds. But, you know, maybe they just wanted to sort of disperse camp. I mean, who knows? But the area that they chose is very isolated, and it's up a very curvy mountain road, according to the information I was able to find. And unfortunately for this case, there was very limited information, but the site that they chose was about a quarter mile from Grandview Peak Road and about 2 miles from Riggs Lake, which that is situated at the top of a steep cliff. And apparently, if you look at these maps, all of this area is very rugged. I mean, I was looking through some of the details of the maps and locations and the terrain. It's very rugged, it's very mountainous, and apparently their site that they had camped on was backed up to a very steep cliff. And again, who knows why they chose that particular spot. That's just what they chose. Mary was last seen wearing a green shirt and blue jeans. Her full name is actually Mary Lucille Brown Sloan, but for the purposes of this video, we'll call her Mary Sloan. Mary has blonde hair. She's roughly 5'3", and apparently this camping trip was going well. They got there, they pitched their tent, they were just kind of hanging out. They had separate tents, and apparently Mary's was backed up to the big cliff. And Mary had been going through a lot. She was still dealing with the loss of her husband, who apparently had passed away several months before the trip. But, you know, maybe this was something to help, you know, maybe just be cathartic in a way. But unfortunately, the last time Mary was ever seen was around 8:30 p.m. that night, September 3rd, 2015. Apparently, they all just went to bed. And the next morning they got up and they were having their coffee and whatnot, and they went and checked on Mary because she hadn't come out and she just wasn't in her tent. And they looked around, and it appeared when they were looking through her stuff that she hadn't even slept in her tent. But her cell phone, her purse, her bag, all her stuff was still left at the campsite. And it was like she had just vanished into thin air. So a search got started almost immediately on September 4th, 2015. The Arizona Department of Public Safety helicopter crews were all dispatched on September 6th. Various search crews from Maricopa and Cochise counties continue to search all along the mountains and cliffs. And apparently, because of this terrain, they had to bring in all sorts of special search crews because they had to rappel down, and they actually also had to bring in special cadaver dogs that they actually lowered down some of these cliffs, because what they thought was, because her tent was backed up to these cliffs, they thought it was possible that maybe she had gone over this cliff. And one of these cliffs what that her tent backed up to was over 9,000 feet, and apparently dropped down through some catch areas to the base of a mountain at about 3,000 feet. But they brought in these special canine dogs from the Maricopa County Search and Rescue that they literally, I don't know how they did this, I guess they have special rappelling gear and whatnot, but they lowered down to try and see if they could, find her whereabouts. But the dogs didn't hit on anything. They had originally hit somewhere around the cliff area, so that's why they thought the dogs might be helpful and why they lowered them down, but they didn't find any further evidence after the initial hit. According to Lieutenant Jerry Nelson, who is the Graham County Search and Rescue Coordinator, he said that multiple teams from the various agencies combed the area the best they could, but they just couldn't come up with any more evidence of her whereabouts, because the base of the cliff is basically like inaccessible, and it's not an area that's utilized by hikers, because to get to the bottom of that cliff, apparently you'd have to start like 6 or 7 miles south of Pima, the town of Pima, and the area is just so rugged and rough that it would take just a couple of days to hike from there to get to the bottom of the canyon. And he said that there was just no way that you could rappel 6,000 or 7,000 feet down. So it's possible that she's down there, but I guess we don't know. Can't get down there, so who knows. This area is all in the Coronado National Forest, and it's just a huge area, and obviously they can't search the whole mountain. My thing is, I'm just wondering what happened to, where did she go? She was with this group of friends. Yes, I know they all went to bed. Did she maybe just walk off to, take a little evening hike, or maybe go off to have to use the bathroom? And yeah, I guess maybe she could have fallen over the cliff, but you think that they would have heard a scream. I'm sure she would have screamed like crazy if something like that had happened. And I don't know, even if she had just gone off for a walk, why wouldn't she have taken her phone or anything with her? I don't know, the whole thing is very suspicious. I don't understand either why they chose this site that was such in an isolated area. Again, I couldn't find much background information on this case, so I don't know if she knew these people that she had gone on this hike, this camping trip with. I really couldn't find any more information about that. I know that, what the search and rescue people said, that, they did their best for several weeks, and they eventually said that, the Graham County Sheriff's Office investigators will continue their case on trying to figure out what happened to Mary Sloan. But as far as the active search, that had to come to an end, and it's just because the area is so vast and so rugged. So what did happen to Mary Sloan? I find it hard to believe that she met with foul play, simply because they were in such an isolated area, and I just feel like, unless it was, now granted, this could be a possibility if somebody from her group did something, but they were camped in this area where the Mount Graham is located. If you look, there's Riggs Lake, then Soldier Creek Campground, all these other campgrounds that are actual established campgrounds that they chose not to stay in, but those are a good distance away. So it's hard to imagine her running into somebody, at 8:30 at night, just arbitrarily out there. But I guess it's always a possibility. Did she happen to just try and go to the bathroom and end up falling over that cliff? That's kind of what I want to lean towards, but I just feel like, since they all apparently went to bed at the same time, if she had fallen, she was close enough to their tents that I'm sure that she would have screamed, and I'm sure that they would have heard something. It just seems absurd that, no one heard anything and she just seemingly vanished. These cases are always extra troubling for me, because I just can't pinpoint something logical that could have happened. I can kind of guess. A lot of times, I can just think that maybe there's an injury involved, and that could have been in this case, but then why did they find her, and how far could she have actually gotten? Granted, that she's could be down at the base of those cliffs, and I guess based on what the lieutenant said, that there's almost impossible to go down there and search them, so who knows. But then again, I just feel like the people that she was with would have heard something. Definitely leave me a comment and let me know what you think happened in this case, or if you're familiar with this case and have read about it or heard about it and have thought about different theories. It is an active, open investigation, so if you have any information, please contact the Graham County Sheriff's Office at 928-428-3141. I'd like to dedicate this video to Mary Lucille Sloan, and just hoping that she can be found one day and brought back to the people that loved her and miss her, and so that they can get closure and she can get a proper burial. I want to thank everybody for watching as always, and please be respectful in the comments if you choose to leave them. Thank you to co.ag for providing the background music as always, and I will see everybody in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks as always for sticking with me till the end, and I'm sorry this video was a little short. There was just very limited information, but these kinds of cases just drive me nuts when they're just so bizarre. I mean, and they're just around a bunch of people and we still don't have any answers or any clues. If you guys have any cases like this that you would like me to cover, please send me an email and I'll definitely get to work on researching and covering it.